Aw.
Can you do like any beat percussion? Hello, and welcome to the very first Rhythm Encounter Interlude. That's a new thing for us. We're trying this out. These are going to be sort of small, bite-sized episodes featuring just recent music from, about a month, maybe two at the most months prior to each episode. Just to sort of focus on the recent picks, try to keep them actually be recent picks instead of possibly from half a year ago. And then we can focus more on our themes and our full episodes. So we only have a few tracks for this episode, but they're all good, recent stuff that you may have heard of, but you may have not. So we hope that you enjoy. Joining me is for this episode, our very first interlude, as always, my co-host, Mike Salbato.
Hi, I'm Mike on the boards.
And of course, our music guru, Marcos Gaspar.
Howdy there, Wild Armor on the boards.
I'm glad to have you guys with us for this. This is new territory for us, but like I said, we're trying this out. We want to try and get more frequent episodes and more content, more features. Thought this might be a nice way to do that, splitting up the themed episodes with recent picks. So with that said, let's just get right into it. The format's going to be a little bit different with these episodes because we're only going to have a handful of tracks. Instead of introducing an entire block and then listening to it all at once, we're going to go track by track. So the very first piece we'll be listening to and talking about is going to be Eclusian Dance from Ease 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. So, I mean, it's probably not a surprise that I picked a Falcom track because I love Falcom music. The soundtrack came out relatively recently, a little bit maybe beyond our time frame, but I had to pick it because new Falcom music. And the soundtrack is interesting. It's kind of a little bit different, it feels like, from some of the most recent E soundtracks. Not that it's bad or anything, and there's still plenty of like your traditional rocking music, but like there's one of the first tracks is a waltz for whatever reason, and we have no context. I don't know with this track what's going on here. I'm assuming it's some sort of field track because that's usually where these sort of fast-paced pieces go, but it's a really interesting piece for an Ys game. You've still got that that fast-paced rhythm, but there's a lot of piano and strumming guitar in the background and this beautiful flowing violin, which reminds me honestly more of some of the more recent Trails games than necessarily Ys. But it's not a bad thing because I love the whole sound of this track. The middle part around 1 minute and 40 seconds in is really good. I love the string there where it's just sort of dancing and flying all over the place. So again, I have no idea the context of this track, but it's good, so I picked it.
Yeah, that violin is just killer. That's all I got. Like the violin.
It's a good thing to like, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the song that's good, but that violin just really, really made it for me.
Yeah, it's a good mix. And well, I don't know what to say after that. I mean, Caitlin, that was part of my notes. Very next section at 139. So it's that piano section that kicks in, and it's just very bouncy. I mean, these rhythms are just infectious. It's just I like that bouncy feeling, and I mean it's Falcom music. It's difficult not to like it. I like that lively nature. It's good. It's good stuff.
It's good.
It's good music.
Yeah, that's we try to do that. We try to pick only the best music. Well, I guess we'll move right on to our next track. This is from the yet to be released in the States, Tales of Berseria. It's been out for a few months in Japan, and the soundtrack. Marcos, I think you just got your hands on this like last week, right?
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah. So, what track did you pick for us from that soundtrack?
I chose the fourth track from disc 3, The Underwater Ruins of Amanok.
Amanochi?
Right.
I don't.
Let's go with
No, there's no
Amanochi.
vowel. There's no vowel at the end, so I'm gonna go Amanok or
Okay.
or Amen.
Okay.
Okay.
It's got. Assuming it's a place somewhere in the game that you go to. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a Tales game if it didn't have weird city names that you've never heard of before. So let's take a listen to The Underwater Ruins of Amanok from Tales of Berseria.
Hey, welcome back, and that was the Underwater Ruins of Amanoki. I want to correct my mistake there, because I'd be no good if I didn't. And now, I chose this track from the Tales of Mysteria soundtrack because I really like this piece. It's very pretty music, very tranquil, yet you still got that this taste of tragedy in the air, kind of just remembering like a grand city or like something. I feel something grand when I hear a choir singing in the background, and just judging how the music gets louder and then dies out. That's the impression of of this place, or rather this ruin, is that it's just a very big place, kind of like maybe Atlantis, saying that the track's indicating that it's underwater. And let's see. When I first heard this, it was just one of the more impressionable tracks on the soundtrack, and I think other people will like this. And from what I hear, I think I like this place because I really thought this music was very pretty and fitting. How about you two?
Well, it's interesting that you talked about, it feels like it could be a big place because I actually like that idea. I think the sound kind of fits. I mean, obviously we don't know for sure, but that sort of I don't know what to call it, but like it's a wall of string synths that Sakuraba likes to use in a lot of his town themes, especially like the towns that are like the royal capital cities or whatnot. They're usually gigantic and huge and ornate and whatnot, but they're big places, and that if that's what's going on here, that fits perfectly, I think, because the sound itself kind of, like you said, creates the feeling of a big space. I'm a little kind of on the fence about this track. It doesn't necessarily like get me super excited, but I know that in the past when I've listened to specifically Tales soundtracks out of context before actually playing the game, I'm usually a lot more kind of meh on them, and then when I play the game and I actually get it in context, I really grow to like it. Like I didn't like Tales of Xillia soundtrack the first time I heard it before playing the game, but then once I played the game, I loved it. So I'm not gonna like outright dismiss this until I get to play it in game, which I'm looking forward to now that we know when it's coming out. It's coming out at the end of January, like 3 weeks before Persona 5. Why?
Better play fast.
I know, it's hard for me too, so but I will try. I will do my best.
It's kind of sad that there's a few games that were going to come out like late this year, and some of them we know we're going to slip to early next year, but they all slip to like within a month of each other. So like they're all still clumped together just like a month or two later than we wanted. It's Persona, it's Tales, there's Kingdom Hearts, there's Horizon is February, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like there's still all these games like right after the start of the year all coming out together now. I actually like the track. It sounds like something, it reminds me a lot of something out of Star Ocean 2, which is a good thing. I don't know if I can articulate it better than how Marcos phrased it, so you can't just rewind real quick and listen to what he said, and that's what I think too. But I like did you say longing, or what'd you say about it? Like it sounds kind of sad, like obviously it's
tragic.
Tragic, yeah. It's the ruins of something, so I'm guessing there's some sad stuff going on there, but I think it's kind of moving. Yeah. So I like that one. Now, what do you think of the, since you've listened to the whole soundtrack, what do you think of it in general so far?
I'm actually going to say what Caitlin said. Like, right now my impressions aren't very impressed with the soundtrack in general. However, I thought that way with Tales of Zestiria. And I found that after hearing, that's until I heard the Goshina CD or disc of the soundtrack, and I said this is going to be a good game. But when I finally did get to play the game and listen to the music again, I was like, this is actually a lot better than what I'm giving it, because I can be incredibly critical when I listen to music. So that's why I have a little difficulties with hashing out some reviews quickly, because I want to be brutal, but I got to give it some kind of justice, and I don't want to give it some kind of like aggressive justice. Like I think once I play this game, my feelings will be a little changed, but I don't know. I'm watching some playthroughs on YouTube, and hopefully me physically playing the game changes that.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, context can help a lot. I think that's why Bridget, especially, whenever she reviews something, like she wants to play through the entire game before even talking about the music, which is quite a commitment, but I like that she does that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've been working on a soundtrack review off and on, and I didn't want to start actually writing it until I beat the game, just because I like the music as it's on its own, but if I want to be able to talk about the tracks and where, not spoil the things, but just like to be able to explain the impact and the use or the meaning of some of these tracks. So it is quite, I applaud that commitment. I really do.
Same. Oof. It's admirable.
Yes. All right, well, let's keep things moving. And Marcos, I think you also picked the next track.
Oh, good. Yes, I did. As from what's coming up next is from the Tokyo Xanadu original soundtrack 2 = X Plus. Really confusing name, but it's just the PS4 version of Tokyo Xanadu, and that track is track number 7, Autumn Sunshine.
All right, well, let's listen to that.
Hey, and that was Autumn Sunshine. And I don't know about you, but that piece is amazing. And the reason for that is I just love that. I get a little woodsy feeling whenever I hear like a xylophone and marimba playing in the background. It's probably just from the nature of the instrument, but it just gives a nice little happy feeling there. Very relaxed, very chipper. Haha, pun intended. And I just love the little organ section at 56 when it becomes a little bit more pronounced. How about you two? What do you like about this piece? It's just a happy piece.
I mean, I'm like it. With my Falcom pick, you pretty much just said everything I wanted to say about this. Because yeah, it's like just a fun little. I mean, I'm trying to imagine what possibly is going on. I'm guessing it's some sort of like the characters are hanging out, doing something, maybe whatever. But yeah, it's hard to imagine anything bad happening with such a happy little piece like this. And I mean, it's Falcom, so it's no surprise, but it actually does remind me of, and I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like it reminds me of specific tracks from some of the Trails soundtracks. Like the accordion towards the end kind of reminds me of stuff from Trails in the Sky, and the beat reminds me of something from Cold Steel, and I cannot pick the specific track I'm thinking of, which is a little but I mean, yeah, I mean, I like it. It's fun. It's chipper, like you said. I like that word. I gotta start using that word more. Chipper.
Use Dapper too.
Oh yes, dapper. I don't use that word often enough.
I don't know anyone that uses chipper like Marcos does. So I think of Marcos when I hear the word chipper now. So I like chipper. Caitlin, would you say, like before we came back on, I think you described it as happy and perky.
Yes,
It's
happy and
it's perky and chipper. It actually reminds me of something out of an Atelier game. Just one of those like lighthearted like town themes kind of. So I like it. It has a nice rhythm to it.
All right, well, we have one more track to talk about, and Mike, this is your pick.
Yeah, surprisingly, they released the soundtrack to Final Fantasy Record Keeper almost a month ago, as of this recording. Which is kind of weird because most of the game just has original music from, every Final Fantasy game up through Tactics. And we talked to them before the game came out, and we even asked them if there's going to be like arrangements or stuff like that in the game, and they said specifically that they wanted to keep original songs in there. I guess they changed their mind, but every once in a while, for a lot of the special events in the game, they have special sounds. Like they do Halloween events every year, and there's been Halloween mixes and Christmas stuff. So this is, I forget how many tracks actually are on here, but this is a collection of all the special arrangement musics they've had. So I picked the Special Arrange Medley, it's a really original title. I like that all the tracks on the soundtrack have Final Fantasy Record Keeper version arranged at the end. So the full track name is Special Arrange Medley Final Fantasy Record Keeper version arrange.
Talk about a mouthful.
Well, no more than Tokyo Xanadu original soundtrack 2 = EX plus, but I guess that's just what we're doing today.
Touche.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
All right. So let me make sure I get this right. We're listening to Special Arrange Medley Final Fantasy Record Keeper version arrange?
Correct.
From Final Fantasy Record Keeper. Go!
All right, so there's a lot going on in that song, I guess. It's Final Fantasy 1, 3, 6, 7, and 12. A little bit of each compressed into about 3 minutes. But it's actually a pretty good representation, I think, of Record Keeper, since it does feature Final Fantasy 1 through 13 and Tactics, and what's the other one? Mobius characters, and I think something else. But there's a lot going on in Record Keeper, like all these different worlds all smashed together. So I don't remember what event this was used for exactly, but I thought it was a good thing to show. It's like, here's Record Keeper. It's like it's all of these things put together. The whole soundtrack has other ones. There's a Valentine medley. I don't remember the tracks in that one offhand, but that one's kind of a fun one. There's 3 remixes of Battle on the Big Bridge. But I do wish this one was a little longer, but most of the tracks in the album are short because usually they're just used on the main menu of the game, and you don't really spend a lot of time on it. So I'm guessing the reason you get 15, 20 seconds of each of these songs in this track is because they said, people spend 30 seconds on this menu. Let's just put as much as we can into 3 minutes. Anyway, what do you guys think?
I mean, I like that it's representative. It goes from, I guess it doesn't go from start to finish because it ends on 12 instead of 13 or 14. But it still kind of feels like you're kind of going through Final Fantasy history a little bit here from 1 to 12. And I think that they picked good, recognizable pieces from each game. I was saying this over the break. I'm a bad who hasn't played Final Fantasy 3, but Eternal Wind is, a very recognizable, piece. It was used in 14 even, with the old set of 24-man raids. And I mean, Terra's theme from Final Fantasy 6, and the main overworld theme from 7, and then of course Rabanastre from Final Fantasy 12. Not good picks there. There's one thing I don't like about it. It's not necessarily this track itself. A lot of the soundtrack seems to me to be kind of it's loud. It kind of stays in a forte kind of dynamic throughout most of the pieces. But I mean, I can see, thinking back on it, why they might have wanted to do that. If this is a mobile game, you may not be hearing this music for very much. So to make it punchy, so that it's heard and sticks in your mind a little bit. So, but still, I think as medleys go, good selection.
I think you're right about that. Sorry, I'll let you go, Marcos, but
no, trust me.
But I think that is the point. You only hear it for a little bit at a time, and then each event probably runs no longer than a week or two. So it's very, very limited that you can even hear these things in the game. So maybe that was the idea. Make it stand out as much as you can. So, okay, go ahead.
No, I wasn't really gonna say anything, because that's literally what I had written down. That's literally all my notes, what the tracks were. The volume was very loud for me too. But to understand it like that, now that makes sense. I mean, even in my notes it says, "I feel so attacked." Because when I first listened to this, I was like, "Why is this so loud?" I had to take my headphones off for a second. It's maybe it's just me. Maybe I got some audio fatigue. Maybe I'm just hearing things. I put it back. Nope, that's just really loud. No, but I like this. It's a good medley. I always like hearing Final Fantasy 1 music again, because that's how I entered the series at numero 1. So I like hearing all that, especially arranged music of it. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
that's our theme.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty great that medley and those songs still hold up after 30 years.
Oh, man. Oh, no, I feel old.
Gosh darn it.
Can you, okay, I know this is an aside, but can you imagine that there are some people that Final Fantasy 15 might be their first Final Fantasy ever? And then they're going to go back and maybe they're going to play some of the older Final Fantasies, and they're going to discover all of this great music and great stories and characters and go oh my gosh, what have I been doing with my life all these years? I need more.
And what they're gonna do is they're not gonna look for MP3s. They're gonna look for MIDIs on the internet, like VGMIDI.com. Like, man, these music's amazing.
Oh, that takes me back. That takes me way, way back. All right, well, that was our final track for this little interlude. Like I said at the start, recent music. The idea is to keep them nice and short and hopefully a bit easier to consume than our mega themed episodes. So to do my normal spiel with the main episodes, please contact us. Talk to us on the boards, talk to us on Twitter, email us at music@rpgfan.com. Let us know what you think about these new episodes, what you like, any suggestions, ideas. Of course, shoot everything our way. And also, please like and subscribe to us on iTunes. We love all these. We like all the likes and the reviews. And did I say subscribe? I'm not sure it's a thing you can do, but
Yes, you can.
okay, good. Thank you. I'm always worried that I'm going to say the wrong thing. It's subscribe and like and review here, or is it give a plus sign there, or I don't know. Anyway, do all the iTunes things. Tell us what you think, and enjoy the music. So for myself, for Mike, and for Marcos, thank you for joining us for our very first interlude episode. We're going to try to keep these coming on a regular basis, so look forward to more. Bye.
Yeah, there we go. That's actually the interlude. It's a short little, like a 3-penny opera.
You thought you were going to be listening to RPG music? No, you're actually going to be listening to us singing.
You were fooled.
We're sorry, but we need you to identify the body of your boyfriend. Oh, star, he's covered here in like worms. If you come take a look at his body, please. Click.